It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Expresso right here on SABC3. Now, with a focus on World Homeless Day today, we as Expresso are investing in shining a light on what we need to do as individuals and society to help alleviate the problem and, of course, give dignity back to the homeless. So joining Expresso now to help us understand the work that goes into giving the homeless a place of refuge is CEO of the Haven Night Shelter, a welfare organization, Hassan Khan. Good morning, Mr. Khan.
Hi,
so
good
good to
morning.
have you this morning.
Thank you for having us.
You know what, the whole situation with the homeless that we have, it's not just about providing them with a shelter. You, of course, give everything else from, support and welfare, but what else do you do to make sure that you are providing them the support that they need?
Well, the most important support that homeless people need, in our opinion, is social development support. And with that in mind, we first help them to agree on what they need to do to get off the street, that is out of our shelters.
Yeah.
But while they're working on this, we need to provide a full hospitality service, a supportive environment, and then facilitate the communication with the family, with friends, and even with the faith communities.
Yeah. And a big part of it is reintegration as well. How keen are the individuals that are at the shelter actually, wanting to be reintegrated back into the communities and homes, and how do you go about doing this?
Well, the reintegration is the mission of the Haven. We get adult homeless people back to a home, family, and community, of course. And the process is essentially as follows. As people come in, we would screen them and deal with the immediate needs. Basically, if it's a health issue, a person is bleeding or not breathing correctly, we'll get them to hospital. However, once a person is stable, the idea would be to create a supportive environment from where the person can, at first, settle down, gather their thoughts, and plan their way out of the shelter and back into the community as such. Best option, of course, is when they're able to reunite with their family.
Yeah, but I'm sure we as society have a big role to play as well. What do you need from us to be able to assist you in the mission of the organization?
For me, the important thing is to identify with homeless people.
Yeah. We
We could very well be the homeless.
True.
And if not us, then members of our family. So have empathy and help homeless people to get home instead of helping homeless people to stay on the street. I think that undermines the project. The more you help homeless people to stay on the street, the deeper the alienation grows. Then it takes us longer to help him to realize that there's another possible way of living his life.
So how can people get in touch with you? How can they lend a hand?
Well, they can phone our head office at 021-425-4700. The Haven is on the web, www.haven.org.za. And of course, we have 16 units in the Western Cape. Go to your nearest shelter. Ask how you can help. And we also provide a pipeline to the poor. So if people have goods in kind, whatever the Haven finds in excess of its requirements, we get to poor people.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for doing what you're doing. And of course, I hope that this has been an enlightening conversation for us as society to know that we also have a massive role to play in alleviating the problem of homeless people, because we don't want anybody to be homeless.
Well, thank you. And please refer people to the homeless, to the Haven.
Yeah.
Don't help them to stay on the street.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, we also have an opportunity to establish and maintain the dignity of homeless, as Mr. Khan said. Let's take a look at a young project that has been pioneered by Afternoon Express presenter Danny Oosthuizen, which aims to do just that. The plight of homeless people is clearly visible. The way they get treated, however, often ends up in them being disregarded and ignored, rendering them completely invisible.
Often I find that you'll have city officials or friends or family remind you not to give money to people at the robot, especially if, you're not too sure of their circumstances or their backgrounds, because everyone always says they'll use it for drugs or alcohol. And often the answer is probably. People who live on the street live some very difficult lives. They're not seen by society as regular human beings who can get work. The stigma, however, that it creates is that you shouldn't do anything then at all. And my word always in those spaces is, if you're not going to give the R5, I'm perfectly okay with that. But then what are you doing? these are your brothers and sisters, these are your neighbors, these are people who live right in your communities, who don't have the resources that you've got, don't have the opportunities that you've got, don't look the way you do, don't smell the way you do, and they really need your support. So not 5 rand, fine, but then what?
The homeless are in a vulnerable place where dignity and friendship are often scarce to come across. Afternoon Express presenter Danny Oosthuizen uses his Sunday afternoons to create a space of recreation and companionship for the homeless.
A group of friends of mine from the church were all talking about the kind of impact we wanted to make, and a lot of us had individual friends who lived on the streets nearby our homes, and we had built quite good relationships with them. Through that experience, we realized that in fact the main ill that we wanted to try and solve was this ill that we were not in incorporated society, that there was them and an us. We wanted to eliminate the them and the us and to come and spend some time just with the homeless, doing what we would do normally, breaking bread together, enjoying a meal together, dancing to some of our favorite tunes.
When it comes to restoring the dignity to the homeless, it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference. Actor Marco Spalmer joins Danilo to volunteer his time and connect with friends.
I think for our homeless friends, the kind of value for them is that at least once a week they get to be seen and they feel known and loved and validated. And I think that's a big honor for both of us, like both myself and then our friends.
My vision is just to see more volunteers, and as a result of that, to see more of the homeless people coming in, and to create an environment in Rondebosch to have more respect for the homeless people, because there are so many homeless people here.
Joined together by prayer, music and fun, the activities focus on connecting people from all walks of life and indulging in the things that lift and brighten the soul. We hope that this World Homeless Day, we all take some time to consciously invest in how to improve the quality of life of vulnerable people.
Well, today clearly a day for very, very important issues, including World Homeless Day, as you heard earlier on. And this side effect of the way that modern society is structured is definitely not a problem that's only unique to South Africa. And with so many people offering different solutions and ways of approaching this dilemma, we thought it would be worth our time to really dissect the issue and see where we as individuals on the ground can help. So joining us to take on this discussion are the Social Development Manager of the CCID, Pat Eddy, and also Special Correspondent to the Cape Argus, Danny Oosthuizen, who himself spent some time living on the streets. A very good morning to both of you, and thank you for joining us. So Pat, let's start off with you first. Can you give us a sense of the numbers that we're looking at when we're talking about homeless people in the city of Cape Town? And also, I want to know, where are these people seeking refuge? Because you see them at the corners of streets, under bridges during the day. Where are they seeking refuge?
I think we first need to look at the reasons why people actually come to the streets. These are many and varied, and it could be as a result of complex family issues. It could be systemic issues which are often beyond the control of the person. So we find that with increased mental and health issues, people migrate to the street, domestic violence, family breakdown, and we have increasing numbers on the street. And this, together with the fact, if we look at the high unemployment rate in South Africa, and particularly our youth unemployment, which ranges between 15 and 35-year-olds, the majority of whom will actually find and end up possibly being on the streets. If we look in the CBD, we would estimate that we've got about 700 people in the central city and surrounding area. And the city of Cape Town's last head count of people on the street reflected almost 7,000 people.
Wow. Danny, give us a bit of perspective as somebody who has lived in that kind of situation. I know that people are very, very reluctant to help. And what's the best way for the public to approach a situation wherein somebody on the street might come and ask for their help instead of just shunning them?
You know, I think that the people in Cape Town, since we started the Dignity Project, had a better perspective of what homelessness is about. So I must be honest that they have really, really come to the party. They've been very supportive. And also, when you're homeless, you need to know what you want. You need to know where you want to be in life and how you're going to get there. And you also need to understand that not everybody can help you with that tool that you require. So you can ask a lot of people for a lot of things, but not everybody is able to support you and help you. So if you know what you want and you can connect with the right people, then so many doors can open for you. It's like, for instance, people say, that rich man doesn't want to give me money. But that rich man doesn't have money because he's got a card. You know, there's little silly things like this, but I think Cape Town really, really has opened their hearts and their minds to homeless people. And homeless people also started to understand their responsibility towards themselves.
How did you find your way back into integration? I understand it was through the Dignity Project. Tell me about that story.
The Dignity Project through the Cape August was supposed to be for 15 days, where we had an awareness campaign about what is homelessness, and they allowed us to raise our voice. And they also allowed us to say exactly what we thought, because sometimes you'll go have an interview and when you read it, it's not really, it's a mixed message. So they allowed us carte blanche, we could do whatever and say whatever we needed to say, and we brought it out there. I mean, the public was horrified by the fact that where do you get sanitary pads? You know, little things like this that nobody thinks about. So for me personally, it allowed me to grow. It allowed me to become independent. And the most beautiful thing I think of all is it allowed me to help other people.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. And I just want to quickly, is there a way in which people can contact the CCID should they identify a situation that they'd like to help? Maybe they know of a group of homeless people around the corner from where they live and they can contact you and then you come to their rescue.
We have a team of 4 outreach workers. We work directly with people on the streets of the central city, and they're very free to make contact with us, and we will try and assist as best as possible.
Well, thank you both for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it. Well, keep it tuned and stay locked on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.